Two candidates and parents arrested for forging UTME scores with AI. Kenyan firm sacks more than 1,000 workers after losing Meta contract. Iran military command closes Strait of Hormuz again. Details in a moment.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Former Governor of Anambra State and Chieftain of the African Democratic Congress, Peter Obi, has expressed concern over what he described as massive revenue leakages from the country's coffers. In a statement on Saturday, Obi, who cited World Bank findings that about 34 trillion naira in federation revenue did not reach the federation account within 3 years, described the situation as deeply troubling. He regretted that while Nigeria's federation revenue rose to about 84 trillion naira within the period, a staggering 41% never reached the federation account, which exceeds the combined 34 trillion naira earmarked for capital projects in the 2024-2025 appropriation bills, which he said is a signal that something is fundamentally wrong. Linking the trend to national outcomes, Obi said that systemic deductions have allowed agencies to capture more resources than entire states, and even critical ministries insisting that the leakages explained why countries with fewer resources are outperforming Nigeria across key development indices. He called for urgent reforms to stop the leakages through disciplined, transparency leadership driven by character that would redirect the hijacked resources back to the people and move Nigeria into the League of Developed Nations. The leadership tussle in the African Democratic Congress, ADC, appears to be escalating, with factional chairman Afiu Bala and the House of Representatives member Leke Abejide rejecting the expulsion. Addressing the House of Representatives press corps at a press conference in Abuja, Afiu Bala, alongside Leke Abejide, described the reported expulsion from the party as null and void, insisting that due process was not followed. They both rejected the outcome of the April 14 National Convention of the ADC, organized by the leadership of former Senate President David Mark, describing the gathering as illegitimate and lacking legal standing. They insist that the convention and the decisions taken, including the alleged expulsions, hold no weight and are part of a failed attempt to sideline its leadership.
As far as a duly constituted and legitimate leadership of the great party is concerned, the coalition groups are not members of the African Democratic Congress, ADC. Subsequently, they select the requisite locus standi to convene any congresses or convention, and any resolution decisions emanating from such gathering are devoid of legal effect and cannot pass the test of legality. It is particularly noteworthy that whilst they were engaging in the same unlawful assembly, their counsel was before the Supreme Court, seeking the judicial validation of the same congresses and convention, thereby underscoring the legitimacy of the entire exercise.
On the purported suspension of me, Right Honorable Abejide and Honorable Nafiu Balagumbe from ADC, I see it as a laughable phenomenon from an illegal group of people who came to destroy African Democratic Party, their Congress, same way they destroyed all the political parties that they existed from. First, I am not in politics because of money, but for service to humanity, and I have demonstrated this one in the last 7 years in my federal constituency. This can be verified.
For political resolution while at the same time pushing legal redress, citing the timeline set by the Independent National Electoral Commission as a key factor requiring urgency. With allegations and counter-allegations intensifying, attention is firmly on the courts as all factions await rulings that could determine the party's leadership ahead of the submission of membership registers to INEC by the end of May. The Benue State Police Command and the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAMB) are both claiming that passengers abducted along the Makudi-Otukpo Road on April 15 are not students traveling to write a 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Two separate statements issued on Saturday, the two bodies faulted reports that had circulated across news media and social platforms since the incident. Spokesman of Benue State Police Command, Edet Udeme, said the victims were passengers in a Makudi-bound bus, describing reports that they were UTME candidates as incorrect. However, confirmed that 7 suspects had been arrested and some victims rescued following a joint security operation in Amla Forest and adjoining areas. JAMB spokesperson Fabian Benjamin, in his own statement, said the victims were participants in an ongoing police recruitment exercise were returning to Otukpo at the time of the incident. Benjamin said some individuals had gone as far as attempting to link the incident to the board's examination schedule, despite clear inconsistencies in that narrative. However, stated that the identity or purpose of travel of the victims did not diminish the seriousness of a crime against them, and called on citizens to cultivate the discipline of verifying facts before drawing conclusions or assigning blame. Meanwhile, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has announced the arrest of 2 candidates and a parent for falsifying 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination results using artificial intelligence and other electronic tools. JAMB spokesperson Fabian Benjamin, in a statement, said the suspects were apprehended for manipulating official SMS result notifications to fabricate or alter scores with the intent to deceive others, including parents and guardians. He said the suspects are currently in custody, saying that such conduct constituted a serious criminal offense, and that the board will pursue all culpable persons to the full extent of the law. The JAMB spokesman also cautioned candidates against tampering with result messages from JAMB's official SMS platforms 55019 and 66019. JAMB had earlier released calls for 632,788 candidates who sat for the examination on Thursday, April 16, telling candidates who sat for it on Thursday that they may check their scores. The Nigeria chapter of the International Human Rights Commission has raised alarm over the growing wave of banditry and insecurity in the country. A statement signed by the country director of the organization in Nigeria, Abdullahi Adamu, on Saturday called on the government to respond to the situation with urgency, sincerity, and a strong sense of justice. The group noted that even though the crisis may appear overwhelming, its roots can be traced to earlier injustices and systemic failures, warning that Nigeria is at a critical point that requires urgent and decisive action. The organization pointed to the developments in Zamfara State, where it said a discovery of gold deposits led to the displacement of Fulani pastoralists from their ancestral lands, added that the disruption of livelihoods pushed many into poverty and contributed to crimes such as cattle rustling and banditry. The IHRC also raised concerns about the role of vigilante groups, noting that while they were formed to provide security, some have worsened the crisis through abuses and extrajudicial actions. For the alleged misconduct by some security personnel, judicial actors and traditional authorities, saying the actions at times deepen grievances instead of resolving them. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, says there is now more liquidity in the country's foreign exchange market. Cardoso, who spoke during a briefing in Washington, D.C., United States, said that the Nigeria's foreign exchange market has shifted from being lightly controlled by the central bank to a more market-driven system. He said the Apex Bank is no longer the only one determining what happens in the forex, saying it's now market-driven, with more liquidity in the system. The improved liquidity, he said, has reduced the need for frequent interventions by the Apex Bank. According to him, Nigeria now operates a market driven by willing buyers and willing sellers with transparent processes that allow participants to see who is buying and who is selling at any point in time. On the decline in reserves, Cardoso said fluctuations in Nigeria's foreign reserves are normal and should not be a cause for concern, saying that the country's reserves remain well above the minimum threshold recommended by the IMF. The Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation has come under fresh scrutiny as the House of Representatives intensifies its probe into the 1.2 trillion naira anchor borrowers program. The House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security is investigating the roles of the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation, Leadway Insurance, and Veritas Capital Insurance in the disbursement framework and participation of insurance firms. At an investigative hearing in Abuja, a representative of the Nigerian Agricultural Insurance Corporation that the corporation provided insurance cover for 2,514 farmers valued at 109 billion naira, representing about 12% of the total scheme. He explained that the Central Bank of Nigeria engaged additional insurance outside the original framework that designated NAIC as sole insurance.
Contrary to the rule, NAIC was offered and provided cover for only the sum of 109 billion out of 1.12 trillion. We provided cover for only 109 billion, which translated to only 207,000 farmers. 109 billion was the cover we provided out of 1.12 trillion intervention for 4,670,000 farmers.
That's what you got?
Yes. 4,670,000 farmers. 70,000 farmers. Whereas only 207,514 farmers were insured by NAIC. The third one was the Bank of Industry, 3 billion to 22,120 smallholder farmers, agro and food processor. NAIC was not given any of the business, was given zero. This is contrary to the policy of the anchor borrower. At the initial stage, NAIC was the only insurance company nominated for that anchor borrower.
Yes.
But along the line, we were given less than 12%. Less than 12% of total program. Less than 12%.
Some of the farmers or cooperatives that monies were paid to fertilizer, someone to supply fertilizer, and then the monies were paid directly from your bank, even though your accounts were debited as it were. Some of you had to wait for those fertilizers for as long as it didn't come. And then we had some natural disasters in the Northeast particularly. And of course, we had the issues of herders-farmers clashes. So I'm trying to explain to us that we are trying to guide the executive government to say there are a gamut of reasons, both man-made, human-made, managerial-made, God-made, that brought us to where we are. If you continue to chase and look at who didn't do what over the years, we will not move on from where we are. That is where everybody, including my speaker, is waiting for my report. Because government cannot stop intervening in agriculture.
The House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Chike Okafor, said the committee would reconvene with NAIC after reviewing its late submission, noting that complaints from farmers and commodity associations necessitated deeper scrutiny. He noted that preliminary findings suggest that poor stakeholder inclusion in the design of intervention programs contributed to their weak performance. Airline operators of Nigeria have temporarily suspended a planned shutdown after an intervention by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo. The airlines held an emergency meeting on Friday where the group resolved to temporarily suspend the planned shutdowns of operations. In a communique signed by its Executive Council and Board of Trustees, the airline operators said the decision was reached after the association received a letter of appeal from Keyamo calling for a stay of action. Association said Keyamo acknowledged their challenges and appealed for restraint in the light of aviation fuel crisis and appreciated their commitment to sustaining air transport services under evidently difficult conditions. The airline operators said the outcome of a meeting with Keyamo on April 22 to find a solution to the situation will determine further actions. As a precondition for the suspension, the airlines called on the minister to urge the various government agencies and industry service providers to continue to provide services to airlines desist from undue harassment and stop demanding upfront payment for services rendered. The ENUGU State Governor Peter Mba has been honored with an award of distinguished leadership by the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria for what the union describes as a transformative strides in the healthcare sector. The union pointed at sweeping reforms, improved worker welfare, and major investments in health infrastructure across the state. Correspondent Chinemere Mikegbenam reports.
And indeed, the entire members of our great union in ENUGU State, and by extension, the entire health workers of this country under Medical and Health Workers of Nigeria, we present this token in appreciation of your labor-friendly disposition to health workers in ENUGU State.
The Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria has conferred an award of distinguished leadership and outstanding contributions to healthcare delivery on ENUGU State Governor Peter Mba. The award was presented at the Government House in ENUGU by the union's national leadership in recognition of what it described as measurable improvements in the healthcare delivery and welfare of health workers in the state. The union commended the governor for fully implementing the consolidated health salary structure for medical and health workers, as well as approving consequential salary adjustments for state workers.
It is a deliberate and deeply considered act of recognition by one of Nigeria's foremost labor unions in acknowledging a leader whose governance has made a real and measurable difference in the lives of health workers and the citizens of ENUGU State.
Speaking while receiving the award, Governor Mba said his administration's heavy investment in health and education is driven by the need to build a productive population that can grow the state's economy. He revealed that over 50% of the state's budgets in the past 3 years have been allocated to the two critical sectors. The governor also disclosed plans to further expand primary health coverage and make all the health centers in the state fully operational.
Another interesting thing we've done is we've also migrated to EMR. We've moved to the electronic medical record. So we just felt that our citizens should not, they should be able to carry their medical records in their pockets.
The union pledged continued collaboration with the ENUGU state government, expressing confidence that ongoing reforms will further strengthen healthcare delivery and improve outcomes for residents. In ENUGU, Chinemere Ikebunam, Signature TV News.
Chamber of Commerce and Industry says that an uptick in inflation in the month of March poses significant risk to business sustainability. Director General of the Chamber, Chinre Aloma, noted in a statement that the uptick is largely driven by increases in food inflation and transport costs, as well as a rise in core inflation, which he said reflects renewed underlying price pressures within the economy. The development, she said, effectively halts the recent disinflation trend and raises fresh concerns about sustainability of near-term price stability. Almona expressed concern over the possible impact of rising domestic fuel costs, partly influenced by geopolitical disruptions in global energy markets, which have intensified cost push pressures across production, logistics, and distribution value chains. The chamber urged the federal government to take urgent steps to stabilize energy prices, improve domestic supply, and address structural bottlenecks in food supply chains, including logistics and transportation constraints, as well as enhance exchange rate stability and access to foreign exchange. This is coming at a backdrop of the latest headline inflation figure, which shows a rise to 15.38% in March 2026, up from 15.06% in February, as reported by the National Bureau of Statistics. Kenyan firm sacks more than 1,000 workers after losing Meta contract. Ukraine's long-range strikes prompt new Russian threat against Europe. Details on international scene.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Low-paid workers in Kenya have been abruptly sacked by an outsourcing company contracted by Meta, and what activists say was a shocking move exposing the precariousness of tech jobs in the global south. Sama, a company based in Nairobi to which Meta outsourced content moderation and AI training work, announced that the workers were being laid off after Meta terminated the contract. Last month's reports said some Kenyan workers involved in data annotation were asked to view content filmed using Meta's AI smart glasses showing wearers using the toilet or having sex. The sacked workers, many involved in AI training, have been given 6 days' notice, according to the Oversight Lab, an organization that advocates for fair regulation and deployment of technology across Africa. It said it was advising the workers on legal options. As the previous wave of mass layoffs of summer content moderators from Meta in 2024, a civil lawsuit alleged severe PTSD, depression, and anxiety among 140 workers as a result of sometimes horrific online content they had to watch. Last month, Meta paused its work with Sama after allegations about the workers viewing private scenes filmed using the company's Ray-Ban smart glasses Meta's chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg, regularly wears. Iran's Central Military Command announced on Saturday it would resume strict management of the Straits of Hormuz, reversing a decision to unblock the strategic channel as part of negotiations with Washington. The statement shared on state television, the headquarters said Washington had broken a promise by continuing its naval blockade of ships sailing to and from Iran ports. The statement said the situation in the Straits of Hormuz will remain strictly controlled until the United States restores freedom of movement for all vessels visiting Iran. Meanwhile, about $50 billion worth of crude oil that has not been produced has been lost globally since the Iran war began nearly 50 days ago. According to CLEPA data, more than 500 million barrels of crude and condensate have been knocked out of a global market since the crisis began at the end of February, the largest energy supply disruption in modern history. Calculations noted that the aftershock of the crisis will be felt for months and even years to come. Ukraine has damaged or destroyed so much Russian oil and gas infrastructure in the past 2 weeks that it has prompted Russia to issue a warning to European countries and industries against funding its long-range drone production. The warning came after Ukraine reached a new series of agreements with European defense companies. Russia warned of unpredictable consequences and said that the moves of European leaders are increasingly dragging these countries into the war with Russia. Published lists of addresses of European companies involved in joint weapons production with Ukraine. Dmitry Medvedev, a former president of Russia and deputy head of its National Security Council, later clarified that they amounted to a list of potential targets for the Russian armed forces. Germany agreed to invest 300 million euros or $355 million in Ukraine's long-range strike capability and would separately invest 5,000 mid-range attack drones to be used against Russian battlefield supply lines. Norway also signed an agreement with Ukraine that will lead to joint production of drones and donated 560 million euros, equivalent of $661.5 million, to support the Ukraine front lines with drones. According to reports, the world's 100 biggest oil companies, including Russia's Gazprom, have made a $23 billion windfall profit in March as a result of the Iran war, which has triggered a global oil supply crisis. But Russia has seen much of that windfall evaporate as a result of Ukraine's strikes targeting its oil exports, terminals, and inland infrastructure. The Pope's planned visit to a Catholic chapel in Angola that was connected to the slave trade is seen as a symbolic moment by some Africans. The Church of Our Lady of Muzima was built by Portuguese colonizers in Angola at the end of the 16th century as part of a fortress complex and became a hub in the slave trade. Pope Leo XIV's planned visit to the church in the town of Muzima on Sunday as part of his Africa tour is in recognition of its becoming a popular Catholic shrine of the believers reported an appearance by the Virgin Mary around 1833. But before that, the White Walled Church on the edge of the Kwanzaa River was a point where enslaved Africans were gathered to be baptized by Portuguese priests before being forced to walk the last 145 kilometers to Angola's main port of Luanda to be put in ships to the Americas. More than 5 million people left from the Angola on the transatlantic slave route, more than any other country, and nearly half of the roughly 12.5 million African slaves sent across the ocean. It's unclear if Leo would address slavery on its Africa trip, as St. John Paul II did on the papal visit to Cameroon in 1985 and Senegal in 1992. Reverend Stan Chu Ilo, a Nigerian priest and professor at DePaul University in Chicago, said he has seen evidence that the pontiff is developing connections to Africa by elevating African figures in the church, including by the recent promotion of Monsignor Anthony Ekbo of Nigeria to a high-ranking position at the Vatican. Let's now join Christopher Lele for Sports Update.
Who on Saturday released 3 Senegalese fans from jail after they completed a 3-month prison sentence for participating in the violence that broke out during the Africa Cup of Nations final in Rabat. The trio left Alajat 2 prison, northeast of Rabat, in a police vehicle to go to a police station before being released. Upon leaving the police station, the 3 smiling Senegalese fans were greeted by members of the Senegalese embassy. In connection with the same case, 15 other Senegalese fans remained incarcerated after receiving sentences ranging from 6 months to 1 year, which were upheld on appeal on Monday. Michael Carrick has refused to rule out the prospect of Marcus Rashford returning to Manchester United once his loan spell with Barcelona comes to an end. England forward Rashford has not played for United since December 2024 and ended last season on loan at Aston Villa before joining Barca for the current campaign. The 28-year-old has enjoyed a solid season with the La Liga leaders, but it has emerged that the Barcelona are unsure about activating a reported $35.2 million clause to make the move permanent. In cricket, David Miller held his nerve in the final over as Delhi Capitals beat Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets with a ball to spare, needing 15 runs to win from the last 6 balls in pursuit of 176. South Africa's Miller whacked 2 sixes and a 4 off Romario Shepherd, who had not previously bowled in the innings. RCB had expertly squeezed Delhi in the middle overs, conceding just 22 between overs 13 to 17. But took a gamble with their frontline bowlers including Hazelwood and Kumar all bowled out before the death. In golf, Matt Fitzpatrick ended day 2 of the RBC Heritage with a 1-shot lead after carding an 8-under par 63. The Englishman made 8 birdies, including sinking a 36-foot putt on hole 15 in a bogey-free second round at Hilton Head. Fitzpatrick, the 2022 US Open champion, began in a 6-wave tie for third following an opening round of 65. The 31-year-old tops the leaderboard on 14 under par at the halfway stage, with Norway's Victor Hovland 1 stroke behind after retaining second spot with a second round score of 65. In swimming, double Olympic champion Duncan Scott won the men's 200-meter individual medley title in style as the Aquatic GB Swimming Championship continued in London. Scott, 28, has won silver medals in the event at the last 2 Olympics and showed he remains a class act, winning in a time of 1 hour 56 minutes 08 seconds to qualify for the summer's European Aquatics Championships in Paris. He saw off Ivan Jones in second, while Max Litchfield took bronze. That's Sport News on Signature TV. I am Christopher Lely.
That's the news. I am Barry Kumar Adol. Thank you very much for watching.
Plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
We are local.
International communities observing
Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken it by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Hi, my name is Shima Tarigawa, and I am a champion.
Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day. We at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Wyatt is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what it was CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change the narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. we are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on eVibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
So I should try harder. So
Okay, I don't know that one.
outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on eVibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
New every morning on Signature TV. We open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
We are local.
International communities observing Why the main market is in chaos. People
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken it through by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day. We at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
WAEC is overrated, and they even overrated reserve and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what it was CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change the narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning weekdays and Signature New Day weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
New every morning on Signature TV. We open the day for you with needed energy. Information and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem. There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
So I should try harder. So
Okay, I don't know that one.
outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
We are local.
International communities observing every
Why the main market is in chaos. People are
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
New every morning on Signature TV, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem. There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left, in all the accounts of Anambra State, 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV. Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day. We at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
WAEC is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what they call CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change a narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export. We are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning weekdays and Signature New Day weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on e-vibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
So I should try harder. So
Okay, I don't know that one.
outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that. That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hubs on e-vibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices.
Good morning and welcome to a new day on Signature TV. I'm your host, Tigichi Agoram. Today, the 19th day of April, 2026. And we invite you to be a part of today's conversation by joining us online via Facebook, YouTube at Signature TV Official. Don't forget we are live across free to air and also on SLTV channel 265. Up next is newspaper headlines. Don't go anywhere. If you're just joining us, don't forget this is New Day on Signature TV and welcome to the segment our newspaper headlines. First up, Sunday Sun. And above the mast, Oshunke at 70 I'll never retire from journalism, but rather says support from wife, children gives him emotional balance, on page 16 and 17. Santita uncovers illegal export jetties, wooden boat networks shipping stolen crude offshore, according to report, page 28. Still above the Sunday Sun masts, on Benue kidnap, police arrest 7 suspects in joint security operation. Kidnap Benue travelers, not UTME candidates, according to JAM, page 27. And why Bala Muhammad's planned defection to APC collapsed, pages 12 and 25, which writers Bauchi Governor State PDP explore fresh political options. On Oshun, how Aregbesol's ADC strengthens Oyebamiji's electoral victory. Now below the Sunday Sun mast, Aftermath of convention, ADC still at crossroads. Legal hurdles, internal revolt, others threatening parties' chances ahead 2027. APC, INEC, presidency's actions against opposition parties may lead to anarchy, coming from Okore and Shele. ADC cursed own crisis, blaming Tinubu, courts, INEC nonsensical, coming from Abayomi, pages 18 and 19. On entertainment, growing up in Lagos slum gave me real understanding of life, coming from Gift Nda, Miss Supranational, page 3. Still on Sunday Sun, on insecurity, we need state police, but governors will abuse it, coming from Senator Arise. Page 21, which writer says governors too powerful can determine outcomes of elections. Next is The Nation. And above the mast, federal government bans importation of frozen poultry, cement, detergent, and others, on page 5. With rider, paracetamol, metronidazole, or the medicines also affected. Bala Muhammad ends APC defection talks with a power-sharing formula, on page 6. And below the mast, on 2027, anxiety as parties, aspirants intensify consultations on nomination. With riders, Binani Group dumps a Damawa ADC, blasts national leadership. Deputy Senate President gets opponent in Kano North. Akawa, Nwoko set for Delta North APC showdown. Still on The Nation, fresh uproar in PDP over suspension claim, page 7. On oil thefts, 586 arrested, 28 convicted in crackdown, page 6. And finally, on The Nation, Iran reimposes restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz. Over to Sunday Punch. Above the mast, Nigerians sleep at airport over Lufthansa strike, page 5. Verizon Telecom's attacks spark fears for 2027 polls, page 3. Below the Sunday Punch mast, Anyang expulsion battle, zonal leaders plot PDP takeover, page 3. With riders, legal tussle threatens Wike-led party structure. We are ready to end this crisis, coming from zonal chairman. And analysts warn expulsion will nullify key decisions. Still on politics, on defection, sharing formula tears Bauchi Governor APC apart, page 13. Forest guards search for abducted Kwara monarch and wife, page 6. Again, Army decries low southeast recruitment, page 4. Silent deaths, tragic stories of youths lost to urban isolation, pages 20 and 21. Faith, patience sustained my 60-year marriage, coming from octogenarian businessman, page 22. And finally, on Sunday Punch, 7 died, 60 injured in Ogun Kano road crashes. Sunday Tribune up next. Bandits abduct traditional ruler in Kwara, cart away money, page 8. Nigeria bleeding from within, Obidi cries, expresses worry over rising corruption, page 4. Below the Sunday Tribune mast, revealed how criminals use cleanup to steal crude oil, page 5, with riders. Navy intensifies crackdown on oil thieves, uncovers 600 million naira illegal network, page 13. Benue kidnap victims, not UTME candidates coming from JAMB, with rather police arrest fake JAMB coordinator in Anambra. Ajaokuta Steel will give Nigeria $14 billion annually, coming from Oyelaron Oyeinka, page 5. On 2026 Hajj, first batches of pilgrims from Turkey, Pakistan, others arrive in Saudi Arabia, page 2. Governor Bala's planned defection to APC crashes. Bauchi PDP seeks alternative platform, page 4. And finally, on Sunday Tribune, Gube battle in APC, Oyo, Nasarawa, others to face direct pry, and Power Minister Adelabu to declare intention. Tinubu keeps Lagos stakeholders guessing, page 2. Up next, Sunday Hope. On Lagos raid, NSCDC dismantles suspected baby factory and rescues 28. On entertainment, Laide Bakari announces first official marriage after 2 failed unions. Kidnapped Benue travelers not UTME candidates, JAMB police clarify. 2026 budget reform oriented, investment driven, experts applaud. With riders hail President Tinubu on prioritization of security, infrastructure, education, and health, demands alignment with Nigeria's development framework. Ondo court remands 2 in prison over land grabbing charges, with rider reinforces active moves by recently inaugurated task force on land grabbing. Dump wives who prioritize other men, Yul Edochie urges hubbies. On Nelfund, federal government debunks halts to students' loans, warns against false notice. And finally, on Sunday Hope, open defection, Lagos directs banks, filling stations to open toilets to... I'll take that again. On open defecation, Lagos directs banks, filling stations to open toilets to public, deploys 1,710 facilities, intensifies crackdown on defaulters. Next up, Sunday Independent. Above the mast, ADC convention. Subdue this big political gamble, according to stakeholders. Below the mast, BUA group chairman emerges man of the year at Independent Newspapers Award 2025. Governor Oborewori Mba Yusuf Ododo, others also celebrated. Tantita records over 97% success rate in oil pipeline protection, surpasses contractual benchmark, according to report, page 5 of Sunday Independent. The technocrats' case why Oyebamiji may offer Oshun its most strategic path forward, page 22. And finally, on Sunday Independent, experts split over tariff overhaul as Nigeria weighs growth against protection. And that's the much you can take on this segment. Don't go anywhere because New Day continues with very interesting content. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
And indeed, the entire members of our great union in ENUGU State, and by extension, the entire health workers of this country under Medical and Health Workers of Nigeria, we present this token in appreciation of your labor-friendly disposition to health workers in ENUGU State.
The Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria has conferred an award of distinguished leadership and outstanding contributions to healthcare delivery on Enugu State Governor Peter Mba. The award was presented at the Government House in Enugu by the union's national leadership in recognition of what it described as measurable improvements in the healthcare delivery and welfare of health workers in the state. The union commended the governor for fully implementing the consolidated health salary structure for medical and health workers, as well as approving consequential salary adjustments for state workers.
It is a deliberate and deeply considered act of recognition by one of Nigeria's foremost labor unions in acknowledging a leader whose governance has made a real and measurable difference in the lives of health workers and the citizens of Enugu State.
Speaking while receiving the award, Governor Mba said his administration's heavy investment in health and education is driven by the need to build a productive population that can grow the state's economy. He revealed that over 50% of the state's budgets in the past 3 years have been allocated to the two critical sectors. The governor also disclosed plans to further expand primary health coverage and make all the health centers in the state fully operational.
Another interesting thing we've done is we've also migrated to EMR. We've moved to the electronic medical record. So we just felt that our citizens should not, they should be able to carry their medical records in their pockets.
The union pledged continued collaboration with the Enugu state government, expressing confidence that ongoing reforms will further strengthen healthcare delivery and improve outcomes for residents in Enugu. Chinemerem Ikebuna, Signature TV News.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
The Enugu State Chairman of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Fabian Wibu, has dismissed claims that the state government is not meeting its obligations on the state workforce. Wibu noted that while the federal government approved a minimum wage of 70,000 naira, Enugu State currently pays 88,000 naira to its workers. The Labour leader made the remarks during a visit by the leadership of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, led by its national president, Kabiri Adomin Jibri, to the Enugu State Government House. He described the claims of non-payment as misleading, insisting that workers in the state are already benefiting from the enhanced wage structure.
And he did not just approve. Enugu State is one of the states that started immediately the approval of the minimum wage to receive minimum wage, the workers. And before then, His Excellency started, as soon as fuel subsidy was removed, Nigeria started crying. There was a lot of hardships here and there. His Excellency started paying us wage award of 25,000 naira, which he said he was going to pay until minimum wage implementation, that is going to seamlessly transit into the new minimum wage. And that wage award was paid to workers of Enugu State for 12 good months, 1 full year. I'm not sure, not even the federal government paid up to 6 months. Not even any other state in Nigeria paid up to 12 months. So it was just ENUGU State that paid the wage award and then transited into the new minimum wage of 80,000 naira, which is far and above what the federal government approved. So if anyone is saying that ENUGU State is not paying a minimum wage, that person is not existing here.
On the issue of gratuities, Wimbo stated that the state government inherited a backlog of unpaid entitlements dating back to 2010. He observed that the current administration has commenced the payments with a commitment to ensure that all retirees receive their due benefits.
The only request we have made to His Excellency, which he has, by the special grace of God, also approved on the 16th of February this 2026, is the consequential adjustment. We complained to him that, yes, we have received minimum wage that's far and above the nationally approved minimum wage, but the consequential adjustment is not there. And upon that our visit to His Excellency on the 16th of February 2026, he approved that consequential adjustment. We are expecting the implementation as soon as possible. For the first time, the government of ENUGU State ensured that the gratuity, the total sum after verification of what is owed to the retirees in ENUGU State by way of gratuity amounts to about 34 billion. And His Excellency have graciously also ensured that that came into the budget of 2026 and have promised us that that amount must be defrayed before he leaves office.
The visit by the leadership of the Health Workers Union also provided an opportunity to strengthen. The visit by the leadership of the Health Workers Union also provided an opportunity to strengthen collaboration between labor unions and the state government, especially in improving welfare and working conditions in the health sector. In Enugu, Chinemerem Ikebunam, Signature TV News.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
At its 238th inaugural lecture, the University of Nigeria convened a cross-section of stakeholders, health professionals, policymakers, academics, business leaders, students, and community figures, reflecting far-reaching relevance of the subject. Representing the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Simon Otoanya, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor in charge of administration, Dr. Josephat Onwumere, described the lecture as both timely and necessary. He painted at the rising health concerns and the urgency of informed intervention.
Today's inaugural lecture is being delivered by our own Professor ENUGU, Professor of Pediatrics and University of Nigeria. So on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Simon Otoanya, I declare this inaugural lecture open.
The inaugural lecturer, Professor Kenechukwu Ilo, a consultant neonatologist and professor of pediatrics, delivered the compelling discourse titled A Normalized Tragedy, the Paradox of Life Ending at Birth and the Path to Survival in Nigeria. Drawing from decades of clinical experience and over 70 scholarly publications, Professor Ilo unpacked Nigeria's persistent neonatal mortality crisis, highlighting a troubling shift from culturally attributed causes in the past to largely preventable system-driven failures today.
When to deliver or accompany somebody, ask them about bag and mask. If they don't have it, please walk away from that place. And it must be the neonatal one, not the adult one, the big one, the very big one that you use to rupture their lungs. They don't need those big things. What they need is this, very small and quite effective.
He called on expectant mothers to avoid unregulated delivery centers, while urging the government and private stakeholders to strengthen neonatal care, expand awareness, and close critical gaps in access to quality health care.
The call is for all of us to continue to raise awareness and then for us to invest in neonatal care. The government must start treating the neonatal mortality rate the way it should be, not with its glove, not with just talking. They must invest their money, they must invest in training, they must invest in equipment, they must invest in maintenance of the equipment that they have delivered to the hospital and track them to make sure that there is accountability in its use. And people should be punished. People that don't do well should be punished.
Chairman of the Senate Ceremonials Committee, Professor Ozioma Onuzulike, noted that inaugural lectures are more than academic rituals, describing them as platforms for translating research into real-world impact.
For the university, it is a way of helping the university community and the general public understand what is happening in the academia. It's like a town and gown event where the academia has a public engagement with the general public on these academic issues and how they reflect the society.
Colleagues in academia commended the depth and relevance of the lecture and its contribution to ongoing health discourse in Nigeria.
Professor Ilo is a wonderful person, a great personality and a distinguished academic. He has done a lot for Nigerian children, particularly for the very young, the newborns. And that's what he has protected. It was well delivered. It's a wake-up call that Nigeria needs to do more. We need to take our very young very serious and begin to think about how to save their life. It's an anomaly for babies to be dying at birth. It's an anomaly for newborns to be dying like if they are killing rats. It's time for all of us, all the stakeholders, to really stand up to it and say enough is enough and get our children to live.
For the wife and daughter, Professor Ilo's inaugural lecture is a moment of pride and reflection, describing his achievement as a new standard for the next generation.
I'm really proud of him. I'm glad today has come. He had wanted to do this for a bit, and I'm glad that today has finally come. I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of how well he delivered it. And I hope really that the message resonates in the minds and hearts of people so that the message is passed on today. It won't be something I'll just end after today. It's something that people remember and put into practice so that there can actually be a change in this neonatal mortality rate.
I feel very proud of him, honestly, because I know that he worked very hard to prepare for this inaugural lecture. And it's a sort of like inspiration to us, to me, as his daughter, to like do better and keep striving to achieve what we want.
The event also featured the presentation of awards and gifts. As conversations around healthcare reform continue, the presentation by the renowned professor is reminding stakeholders that saving lives at birth begins with fixing the systems meant to protect them. In ENUGU, Christopher Lele, Signature TV News.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
In a show of unity and consensus, members of the ENUGU State Traditional Rulers Council, led by its chairman, Samuel Ikechukwu Asado, has unanimously endorsed Governor Peter Mbah for a second term in office. The endorsement was formally declared at the House of Chiefs within the State House of Assembly complex, where the monarchs, dressed in uniform regalia, spoke with one voice in support of the governor's administration, according to the chairman of the council, Samuel Asado. The decision was driven by what he described as the governor's impactful leadership and commitment to the development across the state. He noted that the administration's strides in infrastructure, governance, and service delivery have earned the confidence of traditional institutions.
We want to make sure there's nobody, that's why I call them, there's no king in any city that is going in opposition. and I want to hear the information. If any king in your domain is going in no position, let me know first.
Responding on behalf of the governor, the secretary to the state government, Chidebere Onya, expressed appreciation for the endorsement, describing it as a reflection of the administration's people-centered policy. He emphasized that the growing support at the grassroots is evidence that the citizens are already feeling the positive impact of government initiatives.
The governor and his team do not claim Naima Chahini, but one thing that the governor does is to listen. One thing the governor has done is to surround himself with the right type of people that will also listen and work for all of us.
The Commissioner for Chieftaincy Matters and Rural Development, Charles Ugumwe, attributed the endorsement to what he called the governor's expanded administrative capacity, which he said has translated into tangible results across sectors.
So all these pronouncements and the promises of the governor, I don't have any doubt whatsoever has the capacity to implement this. It's just a question of time. So we are glad, and I believe they are glad.
The endorsement by the traditional rulers added to a growing list of support groups rallying behind Governor Peter Mbah as political alignments continue ahead of the 2027 gubernatorial election in Enugu. Chinemere Mikebunam, Signature TV News.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Well, many thanks for staying with us. We're going to bring you a very important yet controversial conversation on the marginalization of the Igbos in Nigeria. Our guest was Chinedu Abodike. He is a public affairs analyst and he had quite a lot to say. Do take a listen to his insights.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
National, Traditional and Religious Rulers Summit on Health that held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. A traditional ruler, Igwe Lawrence Agubuzu, made an appeal to President Bola Tinubu, especially concerning Nnamdi Kanu's detention and his critique of what he called perceived double standards, by some traditional rulers. Well, joining us to unpack this development is Professor Chinedu Abodike. He is a public affairs analyst and an academician, and he joins us via Zoom. Good morning, Professor. I trust you can hear us clearly.
Hope you can hear me clearly. Welcome, viewers.
Loud and clear. Good morning. So, if you did hear, listen to my introduction, Igwe Lawrence Agubuzo, the traditional ruler of Olu community, made an appeal to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and from what we gather, his appeal was met with a lot of applause. But was it actually stated that there was a response, a tangible response of any sort from the presidency or from President Bola Tinubu, as regards his appeal?
No response is known yet, but what we really have to understand is what is motivating what has been going on to the Igbos. If you really want to understand that, you go into history to find out what has been going on. The word history is derived from his own story. So that story told by those who want to deceive us, that thing has been the cause of problem, his own story. But then for absolutism of his own story to stand, we must accept her own story, my own story, and our own story. We need to know what really happened from 1889 to 1914, when the Kumeko fought the British for 31 years and killed so many of their generals. So when this amalgamation of different clans, not tribes, were brought together to form Niger area in 1814, when Nigeria was amalgamated. The war, the bitterness of that war took the British, the decision they took by handing over to Fulanis, who were and are, as of today, 7 million in the whole world. While Hebrew population, we call it Hebrew, was and is today 801 million. Call it Hebrew Empire, which started from Senegal to the present Gabon. Now, if you track that, you find out where the anger started. Then the pogrom was to stop us from ruling the world, what you call the Biafran Nigerian War, but it's called Third World War or pogrom. You have to find out what is causing the sickness before you can cure it. You have to find out what is propelling the problem we have in Nigeria. The thing propelling is backward integration of hatred that has been. The Yorubas or Agbada Irigidi, we are our brothers. We fought the war in Ghana. You know all that has been going on. We fought the war in Ghana for 300 years with Oron Kanamaya that commanded the Golden Stool to further. Before they came down, they came from the home called Agbada Irigidi. They are our brothers, but because of lies told by the colonial monsters, because when you call somebody master, there is no other position remaining except slave or servant. So the colonial monsters, who were actually terrorists of that epoch, brought about the hatred of the Hebrews, who are called the Igbos. But try to understand this, that history lied to us, so we have to produce our own story, my own story, and our own story. Until our children, until the upcoming generation understand the reality, the truth of what happened, you may not know the actions being taken by our leaders. Thank you.
All right, Prof. We'll still get back to my question about if there was any sort of comment from presidency as regards the Igwe's appeal, but there was something that you said that actually caught my attention. You keep calling Igbos Hebrews. We know that there's a school of thought that actually insists that Igbos are from, the Jewish, the Hebrew nation. What exactly is our story? Because you mentioned their story. What exactly is the Igbo's, story? If you can just summarize it in a bit.
Now, the word Hebrew or Igbo as they wrote it, Ndibo, the ancient. Now, if you want to track the Bible, Abraham left Egypt and went south. Where is south of Egypt? The south of Egypt, go down to the mountain until you come to Mountain Kilimanjaro, which we call today. They say, look east, west, north, and south. That is actually the promised land. No, so don't reverse this thing they're telling us today. Don't reverse it, because we know that there is nothing like Middle East. It is called Northern Africa, or that is, if you use the word Africa that we are giving to us, it's called Northern Africa. We didn't come out from Israelis. Rather, Israeli came here where Moses took them out of Egypt to that place. Moses, as we want to call him. Now, if you look at the Torah, check the last prophet at the Torah, you look at it. So C-H-E in the English language is called chemistry. C-H-I is called she. His name is Malachi, and if you want to Malachi, you go to Genesis, you call it Genesis. If you look at it very carefully, you understand that a lot of manipulation, the world we're living in lies and liars' constitution. Because of that, people do not know reality. The reality has to be told that we did not come out from Israel. Rather, Israel came out from us. Omenanai, our own Omenana, not present Omenana that have been Pentecostalized right now, not what they're doing now. Everybody is grabbing for money. And the same thing is going on in the churches. They're using fetish system. The Omenana man will use Insu, will use Opo, will use that. The church man will use Bible, they use cross, they use, all of them are fetish. Those are what they're doing right now. But we're talking of reality. The reality is that our people are actually the origin of the war. The war started at ENUGU. We know this. I have written 62 books. You can go and make references in Google and others and find out on Amazon and other textbook and ABS and all of that. You can go and find out the reality of how the war started. The war started at ENUGU. The first pyramid called Zingara was built at Uji Hill. It is still there. After that, we went to North. From North, went to Sudan. From Sudan, went to Egypt. Egypt is not having the highest pyramid or the first pyramid. It was built at Ubuku, at Uji Hill. Right now, the pyramid is still there, called Zongara. It's there. So we have these relics of reality of how human beings started. We know that the Yorubas are our brothers. They were all together as one. We never fought one another. The problem we had is listening to colonial monsters on stories about who we are, who we are. We're not supposed to be having problems. Let me tell you, if the Yorubas and Igbos do not unite, the black man will continue to suffer persecution from the colonial monsters called the albinos or the Caucasians forever. The Caucasians, you know, have what they call Nadientan score or Nadientan skin, which is recessive, while we have Cro-Magnon that is not recessive. Our own is friendly to the sun, their own is not. So you know the origin of man, the very person that owned this earth and how we started. And all the discoveries you have in this world, even America, as you said, is called Amerigo Munka. The man who discovered America is from Oka. His name is Amarizo. His copy is in South America. Those no bomb reported Amerigo Munka, Amerigo Munka. Chicago, the woman called Chicago. San Diego, the woman called San Diego. Ohio, the woman called Ohio. All these names were twisted, just as we have it in River State today. Rumor this. After 100 years, because Rumokoro instead of Rumokoro, the whole world is living in lies and liars' constitution. We know this. And the sooner the Yoruba man understands that without peace with Igbo, the black race will be destroyed. So they should stop believing all this lies history. Lied history. History has been programmed or was programmed to deceive us, to put us into confusion. And that's why the real history is banned from African schools. But then we are alive today. We are the one not going to blame our forefathers. We're going to be blaming ourselves if we don't leave the truth for the upcoming generation and the present generation. The truth of what is going on. The Yorubas should find a way to understand their culture and tradition. Their own symbol is sheep. Our own symbol is goat. The symbol of the Fulanis or the Hausas is cow. We should understand that the goat and the sheep can breed together, but they can never fight. But understand this policy of trouble being created by the foreign powers. And again, let me tell you something that will interest you. That is causing our leaders, the so-called Igbo leaders, to have problems. Oboho went and did his own, he was forgiven. The Fulanese who used ISWAP, Hasmen, and Boko Haram did their own, their names were given to them. Nnamdi Kanu spoke his own. You know, I went to see him in January 18th, 2026. And the women are trying to go and see him again before we now go and visit the Oni of Ife, because that seems to understand. The Oni of Ife understands what I'm saying. He's listening to me. Now, if Buhari is still alive and is listening to me, you understand the little boy that met you in 1985 and told you in 3 weeks Babangida was going to overthrow you. You offered me something, I rejected. Then Babangida came in, I met him in 1986, and Babangida offered me something in the government, I refused. Abiola also offered me a refusal. I told him he was going to be president, but he cannot be president, he will go to heaven. All these things are in our Nigerian newspapers. But do you know why I rejected those government things? Because when the government gives you contract, they now come back to start blackmailing you. That process of blackmailing goes on up to today. That's why the Igbo man is afraid of his project, is afraid of his contract, is afraid of that. That's why, as a little boy, I rejected government contract. Imagine the head of state offering me something, I said no. Assuming I've had it, I won't be able to speak boldly. But because I didn't have it, and yet I've traveled to different parts of the world, yet I have my first, second degree and the others. Without those government contracts, our people are afraid of being exposed because of the way they enter the government through the window, or the foreign powers are holding them in blackmail. You know, when you use the word blackmail, we don't use mail here. What we use is gun, so call it white mail, because anything black seems to be painted evil. Therefore, the so-called leaders, both all over Africa. We don't have a country where we have nation preferred by 1884 for economic swapping. So the so-called leader enter the government from backside. So these people know they will start blackmailing them. The government themselves also are blackmailing our traditional leaders because they have contract there. Assuming you don't have contract there, you don't have stakes there, you will not be threatened that if you talk anything, your contract will be removed or your job will be cancelled. You won't be able to progress. That's why they cannot speak out. My uncle, late uncle, Mbazlika Meshi, the boy is good, went to see Buhari, asking him for him to release Nnamdi Kanu to him. And he never had any government contract. That's why he spoke boldly. He's the junior brother of my mother. Therefore, I'm speaking like him. I don't have anything in my cupboard. Let's call it skeleton, whatever name you want to give it. What I know is that the Igbos and the Yorubas, called Agbada Irigi, not Yoruba, must unite to be able to have freedom from this coming threat, from this coming blackmailing. The blackmailing did not start just from us. It started from colonial monsters. That's why they are blackmailing you. If you didn't win election, they put you here. Anyway, I don't call it election. I call it selection. If you are not selected to be, if you are not selected by them, they won't be bribing you. They won't be. They will not be threatening you with exposure, threatening you with blackmail. But because they put you there, they blackmail you, they tell you what you do. You must do that, you must do that, you must do that. Look at what is going on. What is going on in our nations or Nigeria or whatever you call ourselves is what they want. What we should do is to return back to our ancestors who lived in empires. There were only 4 empires in the so-called Africa, which the name you are giving to us, which if you look at the Bible, we call it Gehon. In Genesis, this place was called Gehon. So the real thing is that whatever I'm telling you today is not written in any book because the history books were written by them. The conquerors wrote what you are reading. And based on that, your mind is dependent on what you are told. So what we are told about the Yorubas is what the Igbos know. What the Igbos we are told about the Fulanis also is what they know. And because of that, they will act on that. The real problem we have here is to dismantle. We must dismantle these lies, the lies of history, and tell her own story, my own story, and our own story, the way it is. Must dig into facts to find out what is going on. The Igbos have been marginalized based on fact that the white man is afraid of them. That's all. That's the only reason. They have fought them. They fought them. Go and check history and check Economic warrior who fought them for 31 years and killed so many British traders, and that war ended in 1914. It was the same 1914 Nigeria was amalgamated, and because of that fear of development, of taking over, which Michael Opera and the rest of them organized, because of that fear, they went and handed over the power to the Fulanis. And that is what is going on today. We're not enemies to Fulanis. We're not enemies to the Hausas. We're not enemies to any of them. We were living together in empires before, called clans. Everybody is living his own clan. Here is a place that will live peacefully. Let me tell you, if you want to speak the truth to us, the Benin had streets. They had street lights. They have electricity at input. They had all these things. There were telephone. Telephone was not meant. It was called phone, not phone. Computer, not computer. All these things were here. So they came and destroy whatever they can destroy, and then after studying it, they brought it back to us. And now the only way to rule us is to make us forget the past, or to depend on what we're told about the past. How can you be living life on what you were told about you? Then they brought brainwashed education, whereby if you remember, if you don't remember, you don't pass the exam. If you remember, you pass the exam. Instead of skill acquisition education system, whereby people learn how to develop their skill and to create with their mind and their brain. What we are doing here is remembrance education. We should change all these things and change the name. Listen to me. Those who understand what I'm doing, what I'm saying, have taken steps towards that. At Burkina Faso, at Ghana,